Thank you for joining for today's presentation on PowerPoint 2010 Tips and Tricks. First things first, I'm going to open up PowerPoint. I'll share that out so that you guys can see it. That way you can follow along or just sit back and watch. So I'm just going to share out. So this is PowerPoint. Here I've got a presentation open. It's a SharePoint 2010, just a bit of an overview that I go through at the beginning of my SharePoint class. But typical presentation, right? You've got a bunch of different slides. To make your life a little bit easier, what you may want to consider doing is if PowerPoint is something that you use all the time, you may want to consider putting it on one of your toolbars or your start button. Let me show you what I mean. For a moment here, I'm just going to share out my whole desktop so you can see everything that I'm working on here. And what I want you to notice is my toolbar at the bottom, right, where I've got all my different programs open. What you'll notice is I have some of my most common programs that I use all the time. I have them at the bottom. I have them on my toolbar. In Windows 7, you no longer have a quick launch bar. The entire toolbar at the bottom is the quick launch. But if there are different programs that you do use all the time, you want to make sure that they're there, that they're easily accessible. To put a program down there, you can head to your Start button. You basically find the program. So in this case, it's part of Microsoft Office. So I go into my Microsoft Office file folder, and inside Microsoft Office, I see PowerPoint. So that PowerPoint is easily accessible. I can right-click right on top of PowerPoint, and I can pin this to my taskbar. If you don't like the idea of programs sitting at the bottom of your taskbar, you can also pin it to the Start menu. The Start menu is that white panel that you see when you first open up the Start button. This is the panel that we're talking about. So you can take different programs and pin them there so they're there all the time. It just makes sense. If you use this all the time, you may want to consider kind of throwing it in there. Another thing that really helps you with PowerPoint is to learn a couple of keyboard shortcuts. Cut, copy, and paste is definitely one set of keyboard shortcuts that definitely helps you out. But if you're looking for keyboard shortcuts, it's the first time you can do this in a program. I haven't seen this in any other program. But now, with all the 2010 products, on your keyboard, if you have any 2010 product open, like PowerPoint, and you want to see all the keyboard shortcuts, hit the Alt key. When you're working in the program and you hit your Alt key on your keyboard, it reveals the first set of keyboard shortcuts. Once I reveal the first set of keyboard shortcuts, to go to the Home tab, all I have to do is hit H. And it reveals the rest of the keyboard shortcuts. Some of the keyboard shortcuts haven't changed at all. And they still stay the same. And well, you may notice that there's a few there that you might not have used before. I don't recommend that you learn them all. That'd be a little difficult. But I do recommend that you learn a handful. At least learn the ones that you use all the time. To get this to go away, once again, on my keyboard, I can hit my Alt key. When I hit my Alt key, all the keyboard shortcuts disappear. So the key that I hit, that's my Alt key. So on my keyboard, I hit Alt, and it reveals all the different keyboard shortcuts, or at least the first set. You'll notice even the quick launch has keyboard shortcuts. If I hit H for home, it reveals all the keyboard shortcuts on the Home tab. But like I said, if you're not much of a keyboard shortcut kind of person, at least learn 3. Cut, copy, and paste. Some of the buttons, when you hover over top of the button, it shows you the keyboard shortcut in brackets. So cut is Control plus X. Paste is Control plus V. And copy is Control plus C. New slide is another one to memorize. You're constantly putting in new slides. So if you find that there are a couple of things that you would like to get a little bit faster at, learn keyboard shortcuts. It makes you a lot faster when you're putting in different things. The other thing that really helps you is your clipboard. Did you know that you can store 24 different items on your clipboard? Your clipboard sits in the Home tab. It's right here. See, at the bottom of this section that's called Clipboard, there's a little button. It's a corner with an arrow pointing out. Whenever you see those in the different sections, it usually means more options. In this case, it means to open the clipboard. When I click onto it, the clipboard opens up on a panel on the right-hand side, and you can copy up to 24 different items with it. Let me show you. I'll switch views. I'll head to View and I'll go to my normal view. This is the view that I tend to work in. On my second slide, I've got a bulleted list that's here. Well, I'd like to copy this. So I can highlight it. And when I highlight it, you now get this little quick toolbar that comes up. I can change the font, size, bold, color. There's a handful of things that I can do. But I want to copy this. So I head to my Home tab. I click on my copy button. You'll notice that whatever I've selected goes on my clipboard. Here I've got another list. I can highlight all the items on this list and copy it as well. So I haven't pasted anything. But when I copy this, copies it, puts it onto the clipboard. And not just text. If there are photographs, I can copy them. Any diagrams, I can copy them. Titles, as long as I can highlight it, I can copy it. I can then create a brand new slide, say at the end of the presentation. So I can head all the way down to the end of the presentation, do Control plus M, which inserts a new blank title slide. And then I can paste in any order that I want. If I want the title, all I have to do is click the title, paste it in. Any diagrams, pictures, bullet lists, paste it all in. And you can choose where. Right? I can click anywhere I want and paste. Click anywhere I want and paste it in. Move it around. Do what I need to do. It gets even better. You see, the clipboard is also shared with the rest of the entire suite. So if I'm working on Word, for instance, It's the same clipboard. Let me grab a Word document here. I'll just throw it into view so you guys can see this. There's a Word document, right? It's a bit of an outline on accessibility. Well, same thing. I've got the same section here, cut, copy, paste, my format painter. There's my clipboard and the button right across from it. Well, when I click on it, what do I get? I get my clipboard. And it works. I can click anywhere I want and paste it in. The pictures, the bulleted lists, everything comes in. It's the exact same clipboard. Let me get out of Word. I'll go back to PowerPoint. Any questions about any of that stuff whatsoever? All right. As long as there's no questions, I'll keep going. However, just to make you guys sure you guys are still here, just give me a green check mark if everything's okay. So on your participant panel, just click on the green check mark, and that way I'll know that everything's all right. And once again, if you got questions, just use the quick Q&A panel. So, a handful of things that helps you out, helps you be a little bit more efficient with PowerPoint. There's another one, and that's to do with Word. When I teach Word, and let me share out Word so you guys can see this. When I teach Word, I teach a couple of different things with it. So here's my my Word document, right? I'm just going to take a couple things out. I'm just going to clean up what I did. I'll just take those things out. I don't need this stuff. Graphic, I don't need that. I'm just hitting my delete key to take these things out. So here's the scenario. I'm asked to do a slide deck on accessibility. And these are some of the different topics. We'll talk about accessibility in Word and Excel and all this other stuff. But I want this in a presentation. So I started out in Word, right? If I started out in Word, I sit back and I basically type this document. And this is how I would have done it. So I want to show you what I've done from scratch, and this will make a lot of sense once I'm finished. When I teach Word, I teach people that when you work with certain documents, especially long documents, what you don't want to do is you don't want to format as you go. A lot of times, if you format as you go, you just end up fighting the formatting. Now I'm going to strip all the formatting out of this, because I want to reformat it and show you what I've done. So this is basically what I would have done. I would have typed this out, right? Created my bulleted list, the whole bit, and then I go back and I format. When I format, I don't change the font, I don't change the size or anything like that. When I format, I use styles. So that's a heading 1. This will be another heading 1. To make my life easier, I'll just click 3 times. That highlights the entire sentence. Then I don't have to highlight it myself. That's a heading 1. So I'm using these styles. Heading 1 doesn't mean it's the first heading, it just means it's the first level. If there was a subheading, that would be a level heading 2. You build web pages, it's the same principle, it's the same idea as styles and web pages. So, what have I done? Typed out my document, made it look nice by using styles, and now I'm ready to take this document and import it into PowerPoint. So I head to File, head to Save As, and I give it a name, PowerPoint Accessible. Right? Give it a name, close the document down. I'm all finished with it, so I don't need it anymore. So I should close it right down, and I'll get out of it. Now I come back into PowerPoint. Now that I'm back inside PowerPoint, I'm going to import those slides into a new presentation. So to do that, I'll head to File, and I'll head to New. I'll do a new blank presentation. Now to take that Word document and put it inside my PowerPoint presentation, I go to New Slide, and I choose Slides from Outline. When I choose Slides from Outline, all I have to do is go and find the document that I use styles with. So I just have to find my document. I find my document, I insert it, and it inserts the Word document and creates different slides based on the headings. Now, I did this on purpose. I didn't format the bullets. So you notice that I made a bulleted list, but I didn't choose a style for the bullets, and I did that on purpose. If you don't choose a style, it's going to put everything on a separate slide. So any of the bullets now exist on a separate slide. The great part is I didn't have to type any of this. I didn't have to create the slides. They're all there, and they all have their proper headings that I need, except for these ones. These are the bulleted list. To fix the outline or to fix what I've done, you have another view that doesn't exist in View. It used to, but not anymore. You see, you've got your normal slide sorter, notes, reading, slide master views, but you're missing the outline view now. The outline view sits here on the left. You got 2 tabs, the slides or the outline. The outline is just going to show you the text. That's it. Nothing more than the text. But I can take this slide here. What is it? And I can right-click on it. I can right-click right on top of it, and I can demote it. When you demote a title slide, it becomes a bullet in the previous slide or the parent slide. There's why do we have it? I can right-click on it and demote it. Who uses it? Same thing. I can demote this And now I have one slide that's called What is Accessibility? And it has the bullet points on it. I also have these other slides sitting here now that I can get into and start adding different things. Makes sense? Any questions at all? All right. As long as there's no questions. Using your participant panel, if I am going too fast, please let me know. There is a button in that little check mark that you can click on and let me know that I'm going too fast. Or if you find that it's just dragging and I'm going too slow, let me know that I'm going too slow. We can pick it up a bit. So, to recap, Word document. I use styles in Word. As long as you use styles in Word, it'll take those headings and make the headings an individual slide. There is a style for bulleted lists, so you can apply a style to the bulleted list, and then the list would have come in correctly. You just have to tell Word, and of course PowerPoint, you just have to tell it what you're looking at, what you're looking for. Let me head back to home. Another real time-saving feature that I've found in this program, and quite honestly throughout the entire suite, is in the Insert tab. That Insert ribbon, there's a button here that I quite like. It's called Screenshot. Specifically, the one that I really like is the screen clipping. Quite often, I'm asked to make presentations, handouts, QRCs, and I've got to do a ton of screenshots. So most of the time, and I'm just being very honest, most of the time, I sit there with Photoshop, and I constantly just do these different screen grabs, pull it into Photoshop, and then edit and cut and crop and all the rest that I have to do with it. Now, I don't think I've gone into Photoshop for manuals and stuff like that for a good 6-7 months. Now I do everything here. Inside Insert, you have a button called Screenshot. With Screenshot, you can do a screen clipping, and this is how it works. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing the clipping with is in behind this window. So I could take a Word document, for instance, and I can take this Word document, and I'll just share it out so you guys can see this. There we are. Now you should be able to see it. I can take this Word document, and as I said, I can use styles and all this other stuff, but if I want to capture what I'm doing for a manual, right? If I want to show that, yeah, this is the style, the heading that I'm using, all this other stuff, I can go into PowerPoint, and now because this is the window in behind it, Word is the window in behind this one, when I go to do my screenshot and choose screen clipping, it minimizes this, shows me the window that's in behind it, and allows me to do a screen clipping. Now, unfortunately, just the way that WebEx works, I can't do screenshots. I can't do the screen clipping with it. But, I mean, to give you an idea, it literally just allows me to take a portion of the screen and clip it. It drops it in as a photograph. Let me see if I can do it while it's not being shared. Let's see if I can grab the screen. There we go. So here I've done it in Word. It's the same principle, but what I've got, photograph, just screen clipping. I can put this in my PowerPoint presentation and just drop it in. But you can do screenshots and screen clippings. Another time-saving feature is the photo album. If you've got quite a few photographs, use the photo album. Not a bad option. Not so much a time-saving feature as it is an incredible feature. You can edit video. You can actually edit video and put it into your presentation and control when the video starts and when the video stops. Let me show you how it works. To show you how it works, I'll reshare this out. And what I've got here is some sample videos, right? I've got a wildlife video. So I'm inserting a video. It drops the video into the presentation. More importantly, though, you get video tools. Now, instead of having to take the video, import it into some sort of video editor, now it's all right here, right in front of you. I mean, it's not a full-blown video editor, but it's not bad. You can do correction with it, brightness, contrast correction, color correction. You can make it all black and white or different color tones. There's a poster frame that you can control and set like a preview clip. The poster frame is the first frame of a video that you see before you hit play. And then you've got all these different video styles. So you can make it look like it's in a frame or a television. And it actually plays within the television. Right? Not a bad job. This is what I really wanted to show you, the Playback tab. With the Playback tab, you can add bookmarks, which are like chapters. Instead of scrubbing or skipping through the video, you can add bookmarks. And just like chapters, you can go from one chapter to the next chapter. You can also trim the video. You can control where the video starts and where the video stops. So now it will only play that section of the video. You can do a fade in and a fade out, even control the volume level of this clip. Plus, there's a bunch of other video options that you have as well. So, not so much a time-saving feature, but definitely not a bad feature at all. And I just like the idea that I'm not having to use a video editor. If you've ever used a video editor before, it's pretty time-intensive. You know, there's a lot of work to editing video. It's not straightforward sometimes either. And this is another option. If you head to File, one of the new options that you have for saving is to save it as a video. You can now save it as a video. If somebody doesn't have PowerPoint or you've done narration over the video, you can narrate a video and then create a video out of it. Different events, kiosk events, if there's trade shows, things like that, you may decide to create a PowerPoint presentation, do narration over the presentation, and then just to make it a little bit easier on yourself, you play it as a video and then just have the video loop rather than worry about having PowerPoint, running it as a slideshow, worrying about if somebody touches the keyboard or not. Instead, you just hit create video. You can control the resolution, and if resolution doesn't mean anything to you, you just kind of follow what you're using it for. Is it for a portable, right? A Microsoft Zoom, internet, DVD, computer, HD display? What is it? And then you can use the recordings and timings that you've used, the narration that you used. And if you don't have any, well, you can do it here, right now. How many seconds to spend on each slide? And when you're ready, you create the video. Let me go back to home, and I'll go back here. Any questions about that at all? The screenshot, can you do it with Excel? You can do it with Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, the entire suite. Brian also mentions here in the window that, yes, the Windows 7 snipping tool is the exact same thing. In accessories, on Windows 7, you have this thing called a snipping tool. And essentially, that's what this is. When I go to Insert, and I had the screenshot, basically the same options. Because it's a whole tool, because it's a whole separate program, you've got a couple more options than what you do with just the screenshot tool here. I just like the idea that I don't have to do an entire screen grab. So that's a big deal. Any other questions whatsoever? All right. Let's try something else. All right. Let me head back to home for a minute. So I'm going to go back to the home tab. And on the home tab, see how you can insert new slides? I got to tell you, this took me a little while to figure out. When I go to insert a new slide, something else that helps you out is the ability to reuse slides. They used to call this import slides. It took me a bit to find it, but when you go to new slide, at the very, very bottom is reuse slides. What reuse slides allows you to do is it allows you to borrow slides from another presentation. A panel opens up on the right-hand side, so I can click on Browse and browse to a slide library, maybe in SharePoint or something, or I can browse to a file. So I can find all my different PowerPoint presentations. Here's one on usability. And I can say, yeah, there's a couple things in here that I can use. I select the slide, and it imports the slide. Click on another slide, and imports the slide. Click on another slide, imports the slide. You'll notice, and you can definitely tell from the thumbnails, it strips everything out of it. Most things out of it. Bolding, italicizing, that stuff stays, but everything else, it goes. What it does is it actually takes over the theme that's being used in my current presentation. So it saves you a bit of time. I'm finished reusing these slides, so I'll hit the close button, and I'll get out of there. There are different times that you may want to take your presentation and take it out on the road. Well, when you save a presentation, that presentation is assuming that you are going to present from this machine, the machine that you built it from. So because of that, when you have to go somewhere else, when you have to take this presentation and present it somewhere else, you want to go to File, you want to go to Save and Send, and you want to package this for a CD. It's not that you really want to package it on a CD, it's that you want to make sure that you grab all the pictures, all the fonts, all the videos, all the everything, so when you open up the presentation on somebody else's computer, you're not missing anything. Even if they don't have PowerPoint, you could package the viewer. If I click on Package for CD, it gives you the opportunity to name the CD if you want, but most of the time, I end up copying it to a folder. You can add additional presentations. So if there are other presentations that you would like packaged along with this, you can do that. If you click on Options, it'll include all the linked files. It will embed any fonts that are being used, and you can protect the presentation. A password to open it, a password to modify. I can copy it to a folder and specify which folder. Most of the time, I end up copying it to like a removable drive like this one. When I click OK, I'll say yes to copy all the linked files and everything. And it copies everything to my removable drive now. Now I can take that removable drive, I can head anywhere and know full well that my entire presentation is here. It's even got one of those auto runs. So if you were to plug it into a machine, it would automatically start up if the auto run is enabled. And then the actual presentation sits here. So this is ready to go. You could burn this to a CD if you wanted to, or most of my presentations I usually leave on a USB. So I can leave this on the USB and away I go. Thank you. Now you can see that. So this is the contents of it. This is what I copied. There's the presentation. There's my auto run in case they plug it in. And I've got a file folder for the presentation package that has the background and any of the buttons and anything that was used. It packages it all. Now, speaking of security, one of the ways of keeping your presentation secure, one of the ways of keeping your presentation secure is obviously protecting it with a password. Instead of protecting it with a password, head to File, go to Save As. Don't save it as a PowerPoint presentation. To protect it, save it as a PowerPoint show. When you save it as a PowerPoint show, they can't edit the presentation. When they open this, it immediately goes into the slideshow. They don't get the chance to see all this other stuff. It's actually not a bad idea for yourself. You see, when I present, I don't like showing you this. I don't like showing you this backstage. When I present, I like you to see the slide that I intended you to see and not my toolbars and the rest of the slides on the left here. So food for thought. You may want to save it as a PowerPoint show and send it to the person that way. They can't edit, they can't change, and when they open it up, it opens up as a PowerPoint show. Anna asked me to go back, talk about reusing slides. To reuse a slide, it's on the Home tab, and it's buried in the New Slide button. When I click on the New Slide button, near the bottom, or I guess at the bottom, is Reuse Slides. This is also where we found the slides from Outline. Remember, if you're going to use the slides from Outline, you got to use styles in Word. If you use styles in Word, it'll create all your proper slides and bulleted lists and all that stuff, so you're doing less work. And if you want to reuse slides from other presentations, all you have to do is click on Reuse Slides. That opens up in a panel on the right-hand side. You can then browse to any presentation you want. You get to see thumbnails of the slides. So then if there's a slide that I want, all I have to do is just click on it. And it automatically imports it and takes on the theme of my presentation. Well, I hope you get the idea that there's a lot more I can show you with PowerPoint. Great little product. That's the tips and tricks for today. I just want to check, just before we go, I just want to check and see if there are any more questions. Yes, if you package your presentation, they are required to have PowerPoint to present it. You can download and package a PowerPoint viewer on the CD. That way they've got it. There's another way. If you have an internet connection, you can go to office.com, MicrosoftOffice.com, and on MicrosoftOffice.com, there's a web application that you can use to run your presentations. There's a web application for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. It's all free. Any other questions at all? All right. We are going to keep the Q&A open just for a few more minutes. So if you do have any questions, I'm going to hang around for a bit. If you do have questions, please don't hesitate. If you aren't going to stick around, then enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming out to today's presentation. I hope you at least learned a couple things. Take care, guys. Thanks again. I hope that helps.